Okay, so my name is Elise with the Star-Herald, and I am here with Dr. Jack Whittier, and he is an emeritus animal science professor and the former director of the UNL Panhandle Research and Extension Center. So Jack, just tell me a little bit about your background with the ag industry and why you chose to focus on animal science particularly.
Sure. Well, I grew up in what used to be a fairly strong ag community in northern Utah, but as populations change, it's become a little less agriculture, more commuter, but family background in agriculture, both animal and crops. Small, not to the scope that they are here in some of the western Nebraska areas, but developed a love for animals. When it was time to get a college education, Utah State is the ag college and land-grant college in Utah, and I'd had brothers who had attended that, so that was a natural step, and it just kind of progressed from there. You know, one degree and then that led to other degrees, and ultimately ended up on faculty of 2 or 3 of the universities.
Really? And what led you to Nebraska?
Well, I was at Colorado State University on the animal science faculty, and this position as director was open. I applied, and for my benefit, my good fortune, I was hired. That was 6 years ago, and just recently retired from that position. Okay.
And what are some of your highlights before you retired recently at the Panhandle Center?
Sure. Well, it was it was a great opportunity to understand western Nebraska more completely. Great producers, great people, good community. Have enjoyed that. We'll continue to live in Scottsbluff for maybe for a long time. But I think the highlights were the people that we were able to hire during that time. There are 12 PhD scientists at the center, and 6 of those were hired while I've been there. I don't take credit for the complete hiring process, but we were fortunate to have positions turn over and the opportunity to search and hire. And I feel like we put some really good young people in place during that time.
Yeah. And what are some of the things that the Research Center has contributed to local producers or the local ag industry as a whole?
Sure. Well, by having kind of a variety of disciplines, from irrigation to soil management to fertilizer to entomology, each of those disciplines kind of focus on specific areas and how it applies in the overall system. So I think one of the benefits is that our scientists are able to do kind of what I call a systems approach. So, you know, oftentimes cropping or animal is not specifically a fertilizer problem. It may be, how it relates with the overall system. I think by having each of those disciplines, that's a strength that brings benefit to the local economy.
Okay. And why animal science, and why do you think it's important to Nebraska, specifically as the beef state?
Sure. Well, that's been one of the highlights, I think, of being in the beef state. I've always recognized and understood that Nebraska has a large cattle population, and being here in the west with where the feedlots are and a lot of good producers, that's been a highlight, is to get to know them, to better understand the production systems, both the cow-calf and into the feedlot and the marketing. So just a better understanding. Personally, I've enjoyed that, and enjoy the opportunity to learn from those producers as well.
And over the years of your own research, what is your favorite thing that you have covered or discovered?
Well, I stepped back to my time at Colorado State, and it was during an area where better understanding and managing reproductive management of cattle and estrus and ovulation synchronization a colleague and I worked quite closely on that with some of the other researchers across the nation. And there's a protocol now that's used quite widely called CoSync. And that was a protocol that Tom, Gary, and I developed. And I think that's, to see that protocol, and it's a series of injections and inserts that bring cows into a regular preset ovulation time so that timed insemination is possible. So that would be one of the highlights of my career, I think.
Okay. And after, or since your recent retirement, will you continue to be active in the ag industry or the animal science industry?
Plan to, yeah. Have been involved in the American Society of Animal Science, which is the professional society for animal science, and will continue to attend those meetings and so on. We'll continue to, well, one thing locally that I've enjoyed is the Chamber of Commerce Agribusiness community, or committee rather. And so that meets monthly, and that's, with COVID it's had a bit of a pause, but we've started meeting again, and I'll continue to be involved and meet with that group. I like to go visit operations, and so I'll continue to do that as well.
Okay. And since you retired, you will be continuing your monthly column with the Star-Herald in the Farm and Ranch edition. And so what kind of topics can people or readers look forward to?
Well, it's always kind of a month-to-month question, is just kind of what sparks my interest, and hopefully it's of interest to the readers as well. I like to focus on, I guess, somewhat personal experiences, but also how they apply to today's world and today's production. So my upcoming article, I've kind of got an idea spinning around now, relates to sheep production.
Really?
And the supply chain of sheep. So, which there's a number of sheep in western Nebraska, maybe not as much as there are in Colorado or Utah and other states, but mainly range sheep production. So.
Okay, neat. And yeah, so people can look forward to that column, and thank you, Jack, for joining me today in this Table Talk.